Hello, hi, hey you guys, it's Tara, welcome back. Definitely hitting you guys with something different today. And I don't know, I just thought of this video and thought, you know what, this is a video I would have made 5 years ago when I used to make a video about everything. And I kind of wanted to take my channel back to that. So I'm excited to share with you a little bit of my family tree / genealogy research. And I'm totally one of those people, I always wanted to be famous purely because I just wanted to be picked for that show, Who Do You Think You Are, where they like do all of your genealogy for you and show it on TV. Like that was like goals. They were my goals in life. But I took matters into my own hands and I decided to do a bit of my own research. I'll be honest though, this is actually the results of my third attempt. I completely failed the first and second time, but it does take a little bit of perseverance and a bit more of a keen eye and attention to dates and names and stuff, and you can definitely get some like amazing results. And it's so soul fulfilling when you find these people that you've never met. And for me personally, I didn't really know my grandparents. I have one granny in Malaysia that I visit every few years, but my Irish side, you know, they all died when I was very, very little, and I know very little about them. So I wanted to do this because number one, I'm very interested in history, and it was something I kind of wanted to do for my mom as like a gift, to kind of lay out our family tree and, you know, give it as a gift, because I think sentimental gifts are the best, and what do you get the person that has everything, right? So in this video I'm going to show you guys what I found, some of the original documents, and also little tips here and there about how I went about it, and I hope you find it interesting. So this is the website that I ended up using, findmypast.ie, just because they were apparently a little bit better for Irish records, but I would totally recommend all of the other more well-known ones as well. This one just kind of had what I wanted. I wanted to build a family tree, and I also wanted to search my records at the same time. This is a subscription service to access the records. It's only like 10 euros a month, I think, and I literally just got it for a month and then cancelled it, and then saved all of the information via screenshots, or you'll still have your family tree whether you have your subscription or not. Kind of just combined everything I found all on this family tree, so that's pretty cool. Here I am here, here's my mum and my dad, these are my grandparents who I didn't know much about, and then if I go up here, I was actually able to find my great-grandparents and my great-great-grandparents. So I cannot believe I've managed to track back that far, especially since in Ireland, you know, there wasn't as many records kept as, let's say, the UK. It's just so cool to like track my family back to the early 1800s. It's like amazing. That's like the 19th century. So here is my great-great-grandfather, Charles O'Rourke, born in 1827. And here is my great-great-grandmother, Julia Lee, born in 1831. So this website here, the National Archives Census of Ireland, is the website. It's very archaic looking, but they are beginning to, you know, get through all of the censuses. So at the moment, there are parts of the 1901 and 1911 census, as well as the 1821 to 51. Not complete, but they are getting there, and you probably will find some things. So I didn't have much luck with this at the start, mainly because I'll show you why. You know, like these like townlands and streets can be really, really confusing, because you can know the general area of where the person you're looking for is from, but it might not be called by that name. So for instance, I will show you guys a record of the census. So for instance, I found this was the front page of one of the censuses I found with my great-grandfather, and I knew that he was from an area called Youghal. It's in Cork. It's a nice, beautiful kind of beach town. But if you look here, the way that they did it back then, I guess it's done the same today, but there were so many different areas mentioned in the one document that sometimes you need to try all of them, or try and find all of them to actually get anywhere. So if you see here, it was written the county was Cork, but the union was Youghal, but the district was Kilmacdonough, but the townland was Ballyconneely in East Cork. It was very like long-winded. So sometimes these kind of more obscure areas will obstruct your search and you need to be more specific. So it's so cool to actually physically see copies of these documents, which I found online. This was the 1901 census, so this would have been my great-grandfather's family. The census recording his occupation, the members of the family, and it's amazing just to see the names written down there. Like, he would have felt like this is his handwriting, and I find that absolutely fascinating. It says his profession was a farmer, his sons were farmers' sons here, he was married, his wife's name, the children at the time. So right here on the number 3 you'll see Charles O'Rourke, and that is my grandfather, I believe. But in the 1911 census, he's not in that one, which doesn't make any sense because he would have still been alive. If you don't know what a census is, it's just basically a record of everybody in the family at that year, and for some reason he's not in the latter one. So, you know, like I said, it's very hit and miss with these documents, but they're still fun to kind of sift through. I found a land register, so this would have stated the amount of acres my farmer of a great-grandfather would have owned. I found a dog register even, right, where is he? Charles O'Rourke, right here, number 6. It says that he owned 1 dog, because obviously you must have had to have a license to have a dog then. And it says for the breed, it says a mongrel, so it was obviously a mix, which is kind of cool. I don't know, like just little things like knowing they had a dog is kind of cute. There's a farm census again. My great-grandfather's name is over here. And then I found some other interesting things. Previously I only had a look with the male figures tracking back, but Julia was actually really interesting, and this is the one that really struck a big nerve with me when I found some records on her. Through the Find My Past, I looked up prison records. I just gave it a go. It was on Family Search, but it's somehow connected to this Find My Past website. So you search in the name and everything, you know, and if they were ever in court, it will show you that record. So yeah, it's called the Petty Sessions Court Registers, and I thought I would look it up. And surprisingly enough, I did find one record on Julia Lee, and it kind of broke my heart a little bit. So it was from the Petty Sessions. So on the record, it states here that her name, Julia Lee, it's right here, which I find fascinating. The script is like really difficult to read, and it states that she was 20 years old. And this is the bit that kind of like, I definitely cried when I was reading this. Obviously it was like a massive breakthrough document wise. It was such a fascinating document, and obviously I was curious to see what she was imprisoned for or punished for. And yeah, so it turns out that this date would have been, when she was 20, it would have been between 1848 and 1850, and that was, as a lot of people know, the height of kind of the Irish famine, the potato blight, where the Irish people were basically starved because you know, obviously the potatoes were blighted and they weren't growing, and all of the grain that we did have were taken by wealthy British merchants that either sold us off or sold the grain off, so we basically starved. Even though there was food there, we couldn't have it. It wasn't money, it wasn't food to be eaten, it was food to be exported. We were just basically a nation of absolute emaciated, starving human beings. Like literally, when we used to read poetry in school about the famine, it used to just break my heart. I'm getting emotional about it now. So yeah, this is my great-great-grandmother here in the records as being 20, and it says right here at the person above, it says the crime was stealing potatoes, and right next to my great-grandmother's name it says same. So she was obviously caught stealing potatoes, which is like, it's kind of ironic in a way, but at the same time it's very, very sad. And it really breaks my heart that she was punished for that. God, every time I see this document I get so emotional, I can't even begin to tell you guys. But on the other part of the document over here, which basically stated her day in court and was kind of like a summary of her day in court, and it says here on July 5th, Julia Lee of Youghal was brought to court for stealing the potatoes, and over here is her punishment. And it's really funny. Right up here it says, if to be whipped, whether in or out of prison. And it's so fascinating to me that it just sounds so archaic when you think about it now, people getting whipped as punishments. But if we scroll down here, this was her punishment, I suppose. I think it says she had to pay a shilling, and that's the currency of the time before Irish punts, and her punishment was that she had to go and work in the workhouses, and the Irish workhouses were notoriously difficult places to work. You'd be pretty much you know, worked to death there, and it was a workhouse, you know, it wasn't meant to be fun. It was a punishment, and a lot of nunneries kind of ran like laundry houses and different workhouses and stuff like that. So it was a tough time, and all I can imagine is just how difficult that would have been for her for something so simple, because she was probably starving. This literally would have been at the height of the Irish famine, and you know, anything to do with the Irish famine makes me sad, but when you put a name like right there, Julia Lee, it really hits home and gives you all the feels. Wishing you guys a happy family tree search. Any other details, sites I used will be in the description box below, and please don't forget to leave your tips if you guys know how I can go any further, or if you guys found anyone interested in your lineage that was really fascinating. I would love to hear about it in the comments. I'm really kind of into history and would love to hear your guys' stories as well, so don't be afraid to throw them in the comments because I would love to hear them. I hope you enjoyed this little video from me, guys. Thank you so much for watching.